welcome to the Skywalking with Wetz podcast. I have a special guest here, Blake Thelen. Been wanting to have him on here for a long, long time. But it is an honor and it's a privilege to have him on here. And we're just going to be breaking down his athletic journey, lessons along the way, and just kind of chopping it up. With athletics and being a student athlete and those types of things, like a lot goes into it. And so I just want to break this down with him, pick his brain about, starting in Great Falls, going to Bozeman, ending up in Butte, and just what that journey was like for him. And so without further ado, we have Blake Thelen here. How you doing, dude? How things going?
Going good, dude. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to, chatting with you. It's been a while, so just ready to catch up.
Absolutely. And like most of the people probably won't know this, but like we essentially like grew up around each other. Like Great Falls, I played basketball with your brother Tanner, elementary school and middle school, and you were always there, you're always around, and you're one of those kids that I realized early and young, when I was a young dude, you were even smaller. I remember you were just a little dude following us around, and you could just tell that you had a future in whatever sport you wanted to pick. But like sports and athletics definitely meant a lot for you, a lot to you. And so, growing up in Great Falls, like doing that whole thing, what was it like for you? Growing up, like watching your brother Tanner, like what kind of influenced you to kind of, fall in love with sports, I guess?
Yeah, ever since I can remember and, all the stories that I hear myself when I was little, I always had a ball in my hand. So I think it kind of started out really early. And then obviously just kind of, with Tanner growing up, going to all the travel basketball games you guys were playing. And even like your guys' practices, I remember I was a practice player when you guys needed a scout or whatever, I'd come in.
Yeah.
But just being around, honestly, just all you guys, all Tanner's friends that were, just older than me, just kind of had those, role models to look up to. Seeing you guys win, travel basketball tournaments. I just couldn't wait until that was me. And then kind of the same thing once, your age kids got to Great Falls High. Just going to games like that, you just can't wait until you're in high school playing, football, basketball in high school, just representing Great Falls High. It's one of those things that, you just can't wait to do when you're a little kid. You just kind of grow up idolizing those high school kids.
Oh yeah, dude. I think one of the cool things about it is like my class, 2015. What class were you?
2019.
2019. So when I left, you were coming in as a freshman then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like we had some dogs in our classes.
Yeah.
Like we have some dogs, and like Montana, at least, like athletes win games, obviously, but like small town Montana, like you have a good class, and like everybody grows up playing with each other. And so like I had like Wyman, Lucas, and like all those guys. You had the Torgesons. Y'all were dogs. We were dogs for the most part, and just like growing up around each other. Like you were probably like best friends with the Torgesons and stuff, and like very close knit, and everyone kind of grew up with each other. What was that like? Growing up with dudes, from being just little peewees playing on travel ball, and then getting to high school. Like how much of a benefit was that, and how cool was that? Having that relationship.
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of the difference maker. You grow up playing on that travel basketball team, kind of getting to know everybody. The worst part about it is half of our travel basketball team went to CMR. So we couldn't, we couldn't keep all the boys together. But honestly, just growing up playing in those travel tournaments, just kind of running around, especially me and Kyle, just kind of getting used to each other. How we play, and then obviously when we got to high school, we both played pretty well together and just kind of had that chemistry already that you don't really have to form when you get to high school. You kind of already have it, when you're growing up playing with each other. So I think that part of it was, really nice to just kind of have that base foundation and then obviously just keep getting better as you keep getting older. Yeah, I think, and Great Falls basketball. I mean, I think it's really overlooked. There's a
Preach.
lot of good players in Great Falls for sure. Yeah, I mean, when I remember like Great Falls High and CMR, obvious. I think we were for the most part a little bit better, but I mean, they won state that one year. But Great Falls has a good basketball. It's a good basketball town, I think. So yeah, just obviously taking the most advantage of your situation and who you're growing up with, and yeah.
That's a good point, dude. Great Falls is it's a great basketball town. Like,
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think people overlook it, and obviously, just kind of like our travel basketball team. It that's the worst part about it is people trying to splitting up, going to
yeah.
opposite schools. Um, but just the way it goes, it's not to get into the whole transferring thing, but it kind of gets ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. And like you were coming up, I don't even think Gallatin or Belgrade was double A yet, but like Bozeman was so lucky that they got all those athletes in one school. Like imagine if
Yeah,
you combined Great Falls High and
yeah,
CMR for athletics, dude. Because the way at least from my experience, and to be honest, I haven't kept up as much as I should since I've moved away. But like in either football or basketball, one team's competing at least. And
yeah,
then there's years where
definitely.
both teams are competing, mostly in basketball. When I was coming up, and this
Yeah,
I'm
basketball.
no bashing or anything like that, but the football program was struggling. I think we maybe won like 5, 6 varsity games when I was going to high school, but y'all turned that tide. Like when you came
Yeah,
through,
yeah,
y'all really changed that narrative of Great Falls High football because I don't think we won across town or even made it to like the state playoffs anytime I was there. And I think my last year we lost like our sixth, seventh crosstown in a row.
yeah.
So was there like when you were coming up with like football ranks, right? Like was there any pressure to that? Because you start off as a receiver, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I mean, yeah. I would say pressure. I think it was kind of more like fun, Once Coach Sampson came in, um, kind of the kind of tried to turn around the culture a little bit.
Oh,
And then my sophomore year, I played receiver. I've always been a quarterback.
oh yeah,
That sophomore year is kind of me and Kevin Bays, kind of going at it, and then they're like, "All right, we're gonna start Kevin." And Samson brought me into his office. He's like, "Can you play receiver?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I'll do anything really to get on the field. Like, you just tell me what to do." I really didn't have any receiver experience, and then that year is kind of pretty fun, It's like, Blake, you're lined up on the outside, throw a fade ball, just go
Yep.
get it. Just
Yep.
basically just be more athletic than the guy across from you. And that it was fun. And like
oh, oh yeah.
I'd never done that before. Is like, just go get the ball. It's like, all right. It was fun though. That sophomore year was fun. And the thing is we were 2-8, but we had lost seven of our losses, 7 out of 8 of our losses were less than 6 points. So it was like we were right there in every single game. We were a lot better than we were. So then you kind of get the tide moving a little bit, and it was like, all right, we can do it. And then the following year, kind of wishy washy, wasn't great. And then my senior year went on. I think it was like our first 3-0 start since like 2010 or something like that. Don't quote me on the exact year, but it was in probably
It's a
8
long
to
time.
10 year-ish range that they started out 3-0. And then that was our first playoff appearance, I think, since 2012, something like that.
Yep. I think
Maybe even earlier.
I think it may have been a
Yeah,
little earlier. I remember it was like Jake Olson. If you remember those guys, like they
yeah, maybe like
were,
2010.
dude, maybe it's like 2009, 2010.
Yeah,
It was maybe the
yeah,
year or a year 2 years before when I got to Great Falls
yeah,
High. Because
yeah. So like,
my class replaced that class at Great Falls High.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think, I mean, sounds right, but yeah, when we did that my senior year, it was kind of like, all right, this is cool. Winning football games is it's a fun thing to do.
Uh huh.
And yeah, I mean, kind of just turned the whole narrative around, Great Falls High football around, and that was something, great to be a part of. And then it's nice to see some success continue after because, put all your blood, sweat, and tears into a program, and then when you leave, you don't want them just to go back to what they were before, like you want them
Hmm.
to continue the success and if not be better. Um, yeah, so that senior year is pretty cool to kind of finally, turn that table and, make the playoffs and kind of start Great Falls high football being meaningful again.
It was cool to watch. I mean, I was just right up the road at UP, and so I'd always come watch every home game.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Like it was like finally
Yeah.
because Great Falls High has so much tradition. Like and again, like in Montana, Great Falls is like the third biggest city by population. But like
Yeah.
it's
Something.
still small town, close knit, a lot of tradition and a lot of buy-in to high school athletics. And like
No
even when
doubt.
you're not winning ball games, there's still a pretty good crowd. But like when you're winning ball games, like you feel the love, dude.
Yeah,
You
no
feel the
doubt.
love.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, basketball, especially just because, like, Great Falls High basketball was, good when you came in. It was good when I left. Basketball, especially, like, we got great crowds for basketball. And that was something that, I never took that for granted because, you go to some of these other schools and they're not getting the support that you're getting night in and night
yeah,
out when you're playing like at Great Falls High in Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. You gotta not Brick Breeden, that's Bozeman, sorry. Um,
Swart,
but
uh, Swart
Sport House
House.
Field.
Yeah, Swart. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that was something I never took for granted. I love playing at home. We always got great crowds and so
Oh yeah, we have a thing in the chat here. Jordan LaFontaine. He said, going back to what we were talking about, a lot of it comes from coaches, guys like Kenny G, Howard, Sislow. Like they didn't baby us. Like they
yeah,
made you
yeah,
better, and that's what he's saying. Like I'm a coach now, man, and sometimes you gotta be careful what you say, and I get that to a degree because I've seen coaches like go overboard, but like at the same time, like we were winning, and like we did. I never got babied by Howard. Like it was never like, oh, feel sorry for ourselves moment. It was always onward and upward. There were
yeah,
times where like he'd be just chewing us out, and I was like, dude, we just went 2-0. We just beat Skyview in wet. You know what I mean?
yes,
But um,
yeah.
there's a standard there, and I think that says a lot. And what was that standard like, Ellie? Did you feel like there was a standard? I mean, you kind of mentioned it, with basketball, but football maybe not so much. But like Samson came in to try and flip that script a little bit.
Yeah, and the other thing that Samson did that I really liked was he kind of brought, like the silver helmets. Like they hadn't worn the silver helmets
Mm.
for Great Falls High since like I think he was saying mid '90s maybe, when like Great Falls High was a powerhouse.
Oh yeah, oh
So
yeah,
he kind of brought in that old school kind of, like this is what Great Falls High football is. This is what we're doing now. Um, you know, let's go. It was kind of just one of those things like we're bringing it back to what Great Falls High used to be. It used to be a powerhouse. That's what we're going to be. And it turned out to work pretty well. But that I remember my senior year when we beat Capital was the first time Great Falls High had beat Capital since when Great Falls High won state in 1988. And so it's like,
long time.
you think about that and it's like, that's the first game. And then you
Hmm.
hear that and you're like, you know what? Hell yeah. Like,
Hell yeah, dude.
we're back almost.
Yep.
That was kind of the mindset.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah, and
that's
I
crazy.
think it
That's like
definitely
30
does come from
years.
coaching. Not yeah, I don't like to get into it about the whole, new age coaching, but I'm an old school type of guy, like
Oh
if
yeah.
you're not doing good, let somebody that you coach, don't be afraid to, not rip someone a new one, but kind of
No, absolutely. Like, and that's
accountability, all that kind of thing.
I agree with that 100%. Like, I don't I don't necessarily believe in like tearing a kid down by any means, but I think accountability, you just said it, like accountability is it's a
Yeah.
big thing. And once you strip away accountability, I think it turns into, like entitlement, and it doesn't teach like life lessons. And I think the biggest thing that I've taken from, and I tell my kids this all the time, from club basketball to high school, like athletics is athletics for now, but the lessons that you learn throughout this whole process will serve you for the rest of your life. Like,
No doubt.
for me coming into Great Falls High, like basketball wise, I had some dogs in front of me, not only in my
Yeah,
class, but like upperclassmen. So I didn't get to make a jump from like being a freshman, being on JV right away. I
yeah,
went freshman to sophomore, sophomore to JV. Then I played varsity my last 2 years. But it's like Howard kind of had it to where like you got to earn it. And my grandpa was the assistant coach, but it was like you got to still earn this, man. And he would
yeah,
let
no
me
doubt.
know. And I remember there was a couple times I was like talking to my grandpa in the car. I'm like, man, like Howard's tripping. He's like, don't talk to me about it. Go talk to him. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because a lot of times kids just want their parents to deal
yeah,
with it for them.
yeah, and that's where it gets messy.
Yep.
That's where it gets messy for sure.
Yep.
I totally think, and I think that's one of the big part of why sports is awesome because it's character development.
Absolutely. LaFontaine, yes. Samson coached. He was at Northern. I believe he coached at Northern, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They honestly, like the Northern football program that we know now wasn't the Northern football program that was going on when he was there. They were competing
no,
for conference titles. So
yeah, yeah.
he was a real deal. What was he like? Did you really enjoy him?
Are we talking about Mark Sampson?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed him. Yeah, he was, and he was kind of one of those. I mean, same kind of thing. Old school guy. He's gonna get all up in your face, and you're gonna be better for it.
Hmm?
He's not gonna do it, for no reason. But he'll let you know when you're doing, when you need to be doing a better job. But he's also gonna let you know when you're doing a damn good job.
Yep.
And there's obviously a fine line. Um, between that, and I thought he was great. I liked him a lot. We still have a good relationship to this day. He'll still text me. I'll text him. Um, yeah, I have a lot of good things to say about Coach Sampson. I like him a lot. Yeah, and I think me and him kind of. I wasn't his first graduating class, but I was a sophomore when he came in, so I had 3 years with him,
Yep.
and by the time my senior year came around, we kind of finally turned around the tide of the program. It was cool, and that was kind of something that we have together.
Yep. I haven't really met him personally, but I really appreciated what he did for Great
Yeah,
Falls High football. Like
yeah,
I appreciated the coaches before, right? But
yeah. Oh
just
yeah,
just to see that just that turn, like you could see the culture shift
yeah,
once he got in there. And Great Falls High football has been competitive even ever since he's left. And I think they're still in a
yeah,
good spot, dude.
yeah. And I think some about him is like he's won multiple state championships with Capital,
Hmm.
and he's won. I think he won a conference championship with Northern as well.
I think they may
Uh,
have.
yeah, I think they did. And so like that's kind of one of the things that was nice. Like, okay, this guy knows how to win. So when he comes in, he's doing all this stuff. You're listening. You're not the guy in the back like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing an extra set? It's like this guy knows what it takes.
Yep.
So that was kind of nice when he came in. It's like, you know what, this guy, let's go. Let's listen to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He has the pedigree. Like he
Yeah,
has that
yeah,
pedigree to be like, okay,
yeah,
I got to tap in with this guy.
yeah, yeah, no
Got
doubt.
another question in the chat. Was he more offensive minded or defensive minded, or a little bit of both?
Offensive. Yeah, he was an offensive coach. Um, I think at Northern. Um, but yeah, so his kind of offense was the whole what we ran, and then Coach Schulte was our offense coordinator who kind of implemented it. But
Another
yeah, the
dog.
offense was Mark Sampson, and then which was actually nice for so when I transferred to Tech because Kyle Sampson
Yep.
kind of runs the same kind of offense, same verbiage. Obviously, his own spin off of it, but
Hmm.
it was kind of one of the reasons that I did want to go to Tech because I wasn't going to have too much of a learning curve because I already knew all the verbiage from the offense. But
Yep.
yeah, to answer the question, yeah,
Yep.
he was more of an offensive minded coach.
It was. It
And it was
was.
nice too because he was good with quarterbacks too, so he kind of developed me pretty well too.
It was dope to watch. Like my time at Great Falls High again, no bash or anything like that. There's a lot of lion white. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
running a lot of lion white, a lot of runs, things like that. But when you got in there, you're airing that
I,
sucker out. Well, I mean, yeah, Torgerson and them on the on the line, ready to go get the ball
yeah.
for you. So that was nice.
The the nice thing about that is we knew where our strengths were,
Yep.
and I think it's kind of always been a thing. Um, you know, with it just we didn't have like the bigger kids up front. And I think it's always kind of been a struggle with Great Falls High getting the size
Hmm.
up front. And our line did great.
Yep.
I wouldn't bash them at all. They did well, and they were just smaller at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So it was nice. So what I mean, we were five wide. We were going four and five wide, and just I mean, there my senior year of football was fun. So it
Yep.
was like five wide, and you're gonna have to make a decision if you're playing man. And for the most part, we had really good athletes.
Hmm.
We had good athletes on the edge to where if you're playing man coverage, we feel really good about getting at least one guy open.
Oh
And
yeah.
if they're bringing heat, I in high school I like to get out and run. That was what I was the best at when I was in high school was getting out on the edge and running and throwing, kind of making plays.
Yep.
Whereas to when I got to college, I was more of a pocket kind of guy, kind of sitting back reading the defense. But
Yeah, dude.
yeah, yeah, that senior year of high school football was very fun.
Slinging that biscuit, dude. Slinging
Yeah,
that biscuit. But that's not the only space where you know you were great at. You're also great at basketball. If I remember right, I did you come on a visit to UP? Did you come play with us at some point?
yeah, yeah. So I played a couple open gyms, and then the main one I was really thinking about going to Carroll
Uh huh.
for actually basketball and football. I was kind of torn between it, but if I were to play basketball, the main program I was wanting to go to was Carroll.
Don't blame me one bit. They were tough.
Yeah, but
They were tough.
yeah, it was fun. We actually me and Kyle went to go play an open gym um, sometime that summer going into my senior year, and then I ended up playing a couple. But it was fun because like Matt Wine year um, playing with him, and yeah,
Well, a dude you grew up with, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, that would have been cool. I always wondered that, like, if you ever had, opportunities to go play basketball because, like, your senior year. Well, shoot, you you start varsity since you were a sophomore, basketball wise.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was, I mean, basketball was my main sport really until senior year. It's like I was pretty set on playing basketball somewhere until we started winning football games, and kind of what I alluded to earlier is like you win football games and it's fun.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a whole different type of thing winning football games than winning a basketball game because it's like, a basketball game, I mean, you have, 2 a week for the most part. And, I mean, even an average team is winning half of them. So it's like you're winning however long a season is, say it's like 30, 32 games. I mean, you're winning 15, 16 games for an average team.
Hmm.
But it's like when you're playing football and it's like you got to put in a full week of work for that one game for that 3 hours. It's just kind of something different when you're winning,
Hmm.
and that was ultimately what swayed my mind to play football in college was the winning feeling of football games was just a little different than the basketball.
Oh yeah, dude. Friday Night Lights. I believe, and I stopped playing football after my freshman year of high school, so I didn't get to go see all the stadium.
Yeah,
But like Memorial Stadium is a
yeah,
gorgeous place to play.
Yeah.
Like I just being a fan and going there and watching, like it was dope, right? And to
Yeah.
put that week of work in and then go out there and be rewarded, you go beat a team like Capital, like
Yeah.
would always crush us when I was going through there. Like there's probably no better feeling than that, right? Like in basketball, you know, we'd play 20, 25 games, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, if we lose these guys the first time, we get to see them again. But in
Yeah.
football, you're probably not seeing them again unless you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the beat like a team like Capital and then go win across town, under the lights, fans everywhere. I bet you there's not many feelings that can top that.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely yeah. It's just a little bit different feeling when you win, and obviously losing's losing. You never want to lose, uh, either way. But yeah, it's like you lose a basketball game Friday night. It's like you got a game tomorrow.
Yep, yep.
We got a doubleheader Friday, Saturday. And you win on Saturday, and it kind of takes that sour taste out of your mouth. Like you lose on Friday night, and then you don't get it back till the following Friday. So it's definitely different. Yeah, just like I said, I mean, the winning feeling of a football game for me was ultimately kind of what made me want to play football. And then obviously getting the opportunity to go play at Montana State was kind of the, tip of the iceberg. That was
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is kind of where I've always wanted to go. My dad started there. Grew up going to games every single Saturday. Um, that was kind of my goal. Always my goal was to go play football there, but that was kind of
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know the Thielens are big Montana State fans. We're Grizz over here, but we don't have to get in
Yeah.
any of that right now. Positive vibes only. Um, but how did that come into play for you? Them reaching out, or did you reach out, or how does that kind of happen?
Yeah.
Because there's like in my eyes at least, like we see kids go NAI in Montana all the time, but like
Yeah.
there's a very select few of kids who even get an opportunity to go play Division 1 football at Montana, Montana State, or elsewhere. So like what was that experience like? How'd that all come into play for you?
Yeah, it was so my junior year, it was like kind of towards the end of the year. Um I had got a Twitter DM from Coach BJ Robertson. Um and he's the Montana recruiter for Montana State, and he just said, "Yeah, you want to come out, check a game?" Um I remember it was just snowing, and nobody wanted to be out there. But I like just being around it, like on the field, because obviously I, grew up going to those games. But like it's a different thing when you're on the sideline, kind of just watching them warm up, and just everything it is like being a Bobcat. So that was pretty cool. That was my junior year, and then that summer I went to a camp. Um, One of my good buddies previously who went to Bozeman just committed to Montana State that weekend um, during that camp weekend, and it was kind of like like God, I hope I get the opportunity, because like if it presents itself, there's no way I'm not going to take it. Um, and then towards the end of football season, actually it was like early December when they finally reached out and they're like, you know what, like we got a spot for you if you want to come on play quarterback. Um, and it was kind of like every other option just kind of went out the window. I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, that there's no way I'm not going to take this. It's just kind of the opportunity and kind of lifelong childhood dream coming to fruition almost.
Oh yeah. So how good did it feel just to like, so when I got my offer again, NAI basketball, like I personally felt like I wasn't the kind of kid in high school to get an offer. Like I saw dudes around the state, like Wyman's going to Carroll,
Yeah,
Lucas at the time was going to Tech. You had all these other guys going to Rocky or all these things, and I was like a late pickup. But I just remember I was just like ecstatic, like I couldn't believe it. I was like shaking when I got my offer, and the weeks after, like I just felt so good and proud of myself that I put myself in a position to even like I was like I don't even know if I'll ever play, but just to like be in this position, like I was very grateful. Like, how was it like the weeks after, or just like even building up to get down the Bozeman that upcoming summer? How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Like just kind of getting there was two feelings. Like getting recruiting out of the way was awesome
Hmm.
because it's like the recruiting is just stressful. You're just talking to different coaches. They're always just checking in, and it just gets to be a lot. And then finally, when you make that decision, it just feels like I remember making the decision. It was even hard because I had a couple other things I could do. And I mean, looking back on it, it wasn't that hard, but like in the moment, you're like, geez, man, like this is my future, Like,
Yep.
what am I gonna do? So then when you kind of get that off your shoulder, it's it's kind of just a relieving feeling. And then you get excited, like kind of took me like a couple days to be like, all right, you know what, I'm 100% committed to this now. Sign the papers, like this is all good to go. And then I mean, then you're in the middle of basketball season, then you don't really give it because you're like, now it's my final shebang in basketball. Now I got to make the most of that. So then I, try to keep it on the back burner as much as possible and just kind of, finish out because, you know, basketball was my first, like my favorite sport, honestly, until that time. So it was, kind of focus on basketball. And then after that, it was, you know, it was hard. It was a tough pill to swallow. Like walking off the court at state is like, jeez, man, never gonna play organized like true basketball like this ever again. Um, and then that summer I was in Bozeman working out and stuff with the team, and then it's like this is awesome. Like it was that I remember that freshman year or going into my freshman year, just kind of being around everybody and everybody is welcoming you with open arms. Like even the seniors, all those guys really just kind of embrace you. And you're like, this is awesome. Like you don't really get that in high school. Really see the seniors mixing with the freshmen too much. But then when you get to college and first couple days you're just talking to all these older guys and it's awesome. You're like, I've watched you play for the last 3 years. It's
Yep.
it's cool just to get in there and meet all those guys and just form great relationships.
Yep. Before we add on to that, I can't remember, how did y'all end up your senior year for basketball?
We took fourth at state.
Took fourth.
Uh, we were the regular season champs. We were the one seed going into the divisionals. Um, yeah, it was kind of a bitter ending because we were a lot better than
Yeah.
what we finished.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah, I feel that, man.
oh
It's
yeah,
tough.
that was
And
that
it's
was
tough to
a
win
tough
at state, dude. It's like who's hot? That's really what it is.
time. Literally, it's like I remember like my junior year, we beat CMR by like 30 in the regular season, and then at state they turn around and beat us by like 18 or something like that. It's like,
Dude, it was
wow.
that was crazy. Watch that
Yeah,
team go on that run they did, like
yeah,
with Sam and those dudes, like good on them. Good on them.
yeah. That was
But
nuts.
like y'all were like, yeah, once you
That was
got
fun.
there, dude, like when you had Brendan for what, 1 or 2 years, probably
2 years.
2 years, right?
Yeah,
And then after that, it was kind of you. But then you had dudes like McKinney and them, and then the last year it's all you. But it's probably just like a lot to juggle because it's like, okay, now I'm going to Montana State, like, and like you said, like you alluded to, like the recruiting and all that kind of stuff. Like it takes a toll. I didn't go through it like you did at all. Like I wasn't being recruited. My situation
yeah,
was a lot different. But like an athlete of like your caliber coming up, like not only that, but you still got to get good grades. You still got to make sure you're working out football wise, all that kind of stuff. Probably just a lot at the end of the day, and just probably just felt maybe a little burnt out. I don't know.
I honestly, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. I enjoyed every second of it. I mean, my whole life is pretty much revolved around sports and still is. Like,
Hell yeah,
I
dude.
mean, um, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have had it either any other way. It was awesome.
So like going into Bozeman, as a freshman, and all that stuff. Was there any like self doubts or anything like that? Like, because I mean, a lot of those dudes, they're putting that work in. They've been at that Division 1 level for a long time. Like, did you ever doubt yourself, or did you go in confident, or how was that for you? Because it can be intimidating sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would say more confidence. Um, I like to say I don't really get intimidated by much. Um, I mean, obviously, yeah, you're going into a Division 1 program. That freshman year, I obviously like really didn't have any expectations. Like, kind of just went in. How can I get better every single day? Because I knew I wasn't going to play freshman.
Hmm.
Um, so when you kind of go in knowing that you're not going to play as a freshman, it's kind of not relieving, but it's kind of like, you know what, like this is a good year for me just to like work on myself. Like let's get stronger, let's get faster, like focus on school and obviously, go in and get your meetings in because that freshman year is like really when I learned defenses. Like sit down and like this is what you're looking at, cover two, cover four, whatever, indicators on what the defense is doing. That freshman year is really when I started to hone in on that and really learn. Because like high school, obviously, you're still getting coached up and stuff, but it's not like going deep into the X's and O's of like what the defense is doing.
Yep.
It's more surrounded on like what you're doing, and then just being an athlete. But you get there and it's like everybody's an athlete now. Um, so then you're starting to break down a little bit more. So yeah, that freshman year kind of it was more confidence, and then just kind of you know not going to play this year. Let's get better. For years to come.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. And it's just like it's honestly probably just like a blessing at the end of the day. Like you have top tier coaches,
Yeah,
competitive program, and you were around dudes like went to the league like Troy Anderson. He was around there when you were,
yeah.
hanging out. What was it like seeing athletes like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Troy's obviously one of those dudes that you just don't he doesn't come around very often. It's like you don't see an athlete like that every day. Um, I guess you see it and you're just like, how can I get to that point?
Right.
Like how can I get to to be his level of an athlete? Um, and the strength program there was awesome. Um, they really focus on redshirt development, which was awesome. I
Mm.
loved it. Yeah, I mean, just seeing those kinds of dudes was just it kind of just gave you not a standard, but kind of just like, this is what you want to be.
Yep.
Especially Troy, because like he came on as a freshman and, played running back that his freshman year at MSU. It's like that. I mean, that's cool. And obviously like, you know, you would love to go play as a freshman. Um, but obviously most people are like, yeah, it's, probably not realistic, but how can you get there? How can you, be the best that you can to get to that point? It was pretty cool to be around those kinds of dudes. And then just me being a Bobcat fan, you just watch them every Saturday anyway. So then you're just
Oh
like,
yeah. Y'all pop down there every Saturday.
yeah,
And
yeah,
y'all
pretty
were
much.
watching. I'd come over when I was hanging out with Tanner. Like y'all be watching at the crib, and
Oh
like
yeah,
Bobcat through and through over there. And it obviously stems from the pops, right?
yeah, yeah. He's got a old 1984 ring. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, and that was another thing. It's like why I wanted to go there. Just kind of seeing him and seeing that. It's like it was awesome, and you just kind of obviously want to follow in your pop's footsteps when he was the kind of athlete that he was.
Oh yeah, dude. Terry's the man, dude. Like he was like our travel team coach coming up, like Tanner Wyman and I. And yeah, man, like your family's awesome. I've always appreciated your family, like Terry and them. Like I even traveled. I'd come to some tournaments. Y'all would take me places and
Yeah,
do all that. It was always cool to kick it. I wasn't a Bobcat fan, but it was always cool to kick it with y'all. And and experience that and just like hear about like your dad and his run at MSU, and then he went to Carroll afterwards,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like, I mean, being in your shoes, having a dad like that who's been there and been able to compete at that high level, that's probably inspiring in its own sense. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, it's cool, and I mean, like a lot of places that you go, and I mean, my dad knows a lot of people, so it's like you go somewhere in like Great Falls, Billings, and dad sees someone random, and they turn to you as a little kid, and they're like, "Hey, you know how good your pops was back in the day? Like he used to do this, he used to do that." Um, so yeah, you kind of hear that, and you're like, "All right, now I got to be better than him." Like
Yep.
you got to try to top it somehow. But yeah, no, it's always kind of one of those things. Like, yeah, like dad was that good. All right, like that's awesome. Like I want to be I want to be just like him. Like I want to do what he did. How can I even be better than that? Yeah, so kind of hearing that kind of stuff, and and I'm telling you, it happened. Like you go up somewhere in Billings, and he sees an old coach or like somebody he used to play against, and they turn to you and they're like, "This guy used to be the man." It's like, all right, well, I don't know if I believe it, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're like, all right, well, now I want to be better than that.
What position did you play?
He played quarterback in up until he got to Carroll, and then they flipped him to safety.
Yep.
And then he never played safety in his life, and then now he's in the Hall of Fame at Carroll for safety.
Hell yeah, dude.
Funny.
Oh yeah, so you went to Bozeman, did your thing, and so how did Montana Tech kind of come into play? Because I think that's where this whole thing kind of blossoms for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I was surprised when I heard you were going to Tech. I was surprised you didn't go to Carroll, just because of like I knew about your dad and all of that.
yeah,
I was surprised it wasn't
yeah.
Carroll.
So it was kind of when Choate left. Um, was kind of the whole kind of thing got started. Kind of where I was like thinking about it. Um, and then yeah, after that spring ball, um, they were like, "Well, we're gonna bring in a couple quarterbacks that we were looking at because the coaching staff came from Wyoming
Right.
at Montana, so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna bring in a couple guys," and um, not that I'm shying away from a competition, but I wasn't on scholarship
Yeah.
at that time, and that was kind of my whole goal, and I was kind of on path, and then that kind of happened, kind of shook it up a little bit, um, and then I was like, I think my thing is that I want to get on the field and I want to play. Um, you know, people kind of stay there and kind of just you know ride the bench for a while and just
Right.
say they played played Division 1 football.
Yep.
My thing is like, I really wanted to play. I wanted to go contribute to a team and play while I still could because now it's over.
Hmm.
And I knew that at some point it was going to be over. So just that spring, I actually got released into the transfer portal when we were in Florida. And so I was getting a bunch of calls on vacation. Like I remember we're in an Uber ride and I'm getting a couple calls from God, I can't even remember who it was, but it was just like, okay, now I'm pretty much going through recruiting again, like I'm in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, now I need to make a decision. And Coach Vegan actually was awesome about it. I told him, kind of how I was feeling, and he supported it. And he said, if you don't find somewhere that you want to be, we'll gladly take you back. He liked me as a player. So that was good to hear from him that they would have welcomed me back with open arms um, if I wouldn't have found somewhere.
Yep.
Um, and then yeah, it was kind of between Carroll and Tech when I was transferring. I actually was considering Rocky too. My cousin was the wide receivers coach for Rocky, and then obviously my parents lived in
Yep.
Billings, and it kind of just would have been um, just kind of an ideal thing. Um, but kind of ultimately just came down, I knew a bunch of people that went to Tech. Um,
Got the
and
homies out
obviously, like,
there.
what's that?
You got the homies out there. You
Yeah,
got
I
was it
mean, yeah,
Torgerson's out
it's
there
like,
already?
yeah, Kyle was there, Cody was there, Levi was going there. And then I said it before, but Coach Sampson kind of having the offense and me not having to learn too much about it, so I can just go in and start competing right away. That was kind of a nice addition to knowing a bunch of people on the roster already. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then the other thing was like I didn't want to do exactly what my dad did. Like I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I didn't know if I really wanted to do the whole Montana State to Carroll thing and do exactly what my dad did, and just kind of almost be in his shadow.
Yeah.
I kind of just wanted to do my own thing. Um, yeah, so that's kind of that's kind of the reasoning behind going. Obviously, I think Tech has the best fans in the NAIA.
Hey.
I mean, they're awesome. They show up and support no matter what.
Oh yeah. Even in basketball, like we'd go in there, and they weren't my first couple of years there. They weren't good at all, but they would still show out in the student
Yeah,
section, second to none. Um,
yeah.
it's a great. I mean, and Tech's a beautiful school. Hold on one sec before we get to that. We got a loaded question here. Who's better, you or your dad in your primes? Tough question. Tough question. But that's something that came up in the chat.
I don't know.
Two different
I would have to give
positions
it.
in a
I
sense.
gotta give it to myself. He
Yeah.
would probably dispute it, but the other thing, I think my dad had like letters again and like some Pac-12 schools too.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I gotta give it to me.
I love it. I love it.
We'll see. I don't know. He might have something to say about that later, but
After he watches this, yeah, we'll see. It'll be a
yeah,
nice, if it hasn't already happened yet, it'd be a nice, uh, dinner chat sitting at the table talking.
yeah, yeah. We
Um,
might have to bring my mom into that conversation too. See if
oh
she.
yeah, she could be that third party analysis. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, dude. So you're at Tech now. Like, how was that transition for you, man? I mean, like you said, great fan base. In my opinion, I think it's a great school, engineering school. Um,
Yeah.
but also, like, what was the football program like when you were going in there? I can't remember really. Were they competitive? What
Yeah.
that look like?
So when I came in, so obviously they didn't play in 2020. So I came in 2021.
Hmm.
In 2019 was I think they were 6-4. Um, 6-4 sounds right. And then so I came in 2021, and it was so that was Sampson's first year as a head coach.
Hmm.
So it was kind of they had a good culture with Morrell for sure. Sampson, um, he kind of came in and he has his because he was a successful coach at Flathead,
Yep.
and then there that 2019 season he was offensive at Tech, and the offense was good. They had like good statistics, and then he gets a head coach job. And then when you're a head coach, you just don't want to follow in what the other head coach is doing.
Yep.
It's Nick Saban. So he came in and kind of was implementing his standards, I guess is what I would say. And that first year was kind of a struggle. I remember we were 5-5, and we were way more talented than a 5-5 team. And I think it kind of came down to like discipline. You know, stupid penalties here, just kind of undisciplined things, and kind of just growing pains that you go through when you're trying to change a culture around.
Yep.
And then that 20, so I guess the other thing that transition is I tore my ACL in the first drive that I played in college football. Um, it was, oh man, I mean, had a great drive going. drove like 90 yards. We started on like on our, and then we get down to like the 10, their 10 going in, and I pull a read option and make a cut. Just tear my ACL, and then I stayed in for a couple plays. Um, and then I like step up in the pocket, throw it off my front foot, my left leg, which is what I hurt, and I put all my pressure on it, and I just collapse. And it's like, all right, something's wrong. So had to stay down. Um, and then after that, it wasn't easy. And I'm not one to be like, oh, I'm a pretty happy guy. Always,
Oh yeah.
always got a smile on my face for the most part. Um, I was down in the dumps there for a while because I just came in. Um, I worked out with everybody over the summer, but obviously didn't have the friends that you would have if I would have went there out of high school.
Yep.
So it was tough for that, honestly, until the next football season started. I had great support for the winter condo and all my rehab and stuff. Great support. Um, and then it's just one of those things like you're hurt, not much you can do. Um, so, and then yeah, I got cleared like right before summer workout started, and then mood starts to go up a little better, and then you're there, however, pretty much a year at that point, starting to like really know people, starting to really like form relationships, and then going into that 2022 season was when it was really like, all right, I'm really enjoying myself. I like the program. And then that's 2022 season. We missed out on the playoffs by one game, and we were 7-3. And that's when when you knew like what Samson was doing was working.
Yep.
Like winter condo, summer workouts. Like if you're not touching the line or like the set,
Right.
or if you're not behind the line in warm-ups, then we're going back and redoing it, like that kind of stuff. Um, which I think is a huge thing. If you're not touching lines or if you can't stay behind, how are we going to trust you when we're in the fourth quarter on the last to know your assignment? It's just kind of small, simple things. And I think that honestly turned out to be why we, made the playoffs for the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, and that's huge stuff right there. And I think we touched about that a little bit earlier. It was like just like that self accountability, man. Like that's
Yeah.
what makes good teams great. You know,
Yeah.
discipline, and it all starts from the coach's like expectations going in. Like if you're a loosey goosey coach, like yeah, you might win, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty and you play those teams, like
Yeah.
you're probably not going to win. Like for example, like my time at UP when we were UGF at the time, right? Like we had probably, this is before Keller got there. And I love all my teammates and everything like that. We just weren't a disciplined team on the court,
Yeah.
off the court, right?
Yep.
And we would lose close games because, we just weren't as disciplined and other things, play a factor. But, Keller also held a standard when he came in, like it was that kind of stuff. And we started winning more. Like you're saying, like when the new coach comes in and you see it
Yeah.
kind of starting to unfold, like, okay, all right, now it all starts to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to bring it back real quick, what was maybe like the biggest lesson that like you learned throughout like your rehab process? Like tearing an ACL at that point, first year at Tech, you haven't made your connections, things like that. You said you were down in the dumps. It takes a lot of grit and resiliency to kind of pull yourself up from the bootstraps. And, sometimes dudes might quit when they're put in that situation. And obviously you didn't, because you went on to finish it all out and had a very successful career. But like, what's one thing you think that you can take from that will probably be with you for the rest of your life, outside of probably the gnarly scar you have on you?
Um, Honestly, just you surround yourself with people who truly care for you, and in those types of moments when you can't do something for anybody else who's really who's really there for you.
Yep.
Um, I always say like I like to be. I mean, you want to be like the dumbest person in your or like the dumbest person that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like that with your relationships. It's like I want the best possible people around me, and I think I do. I think I have the best possible people around me. Um, I mean, I call my dad, twice a day at least, and we just talk, and that's not just through the ACL. Like that's to this day.
Yep.
I text my mom every single day, and it's just people like that that help you get through the times. Um, that you can just kind of rely on them, and they're kind of your staple, your rock. Um, yeah, to me, it's just the relationships that kind of help me get through it, and then also just for me, again, I like to say I'm a smiley guy. I'm always happy. I like, I people like to be around me. Um, it's kind of putting a face on. I'm not the happiest kid when I just tore my ACL and I'm going through rehab, but it's when you go into rehab, you go in to see the trainers and you see other people um, in the training room. It's how can I be the how can I be the light in someone's day to day? It's
Yep.
saying hi to them, smiling at them, asking how their day was, or if they have anything going on this weekend. Um, it's kind of just being the best person that you can be at that point in time, because then when you need it, hopefully somebody
Right.
reciprocates it back to you.
Absolutely, man. Just being optimistic throughout that whole process, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, optimism. Yeah, it's just, put on a face, smile. Obviously, you don't feel the best, but
right.
just fake it till you make it, and then once you make it, then it's great.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, like again, like an injury like that's just it's devastating. But
So,
then you went on to eventually rewrite the record books. And so like after you came back, you're feeling good. You go through spring ball, summer condo, all that stuff. You're coming back for that next season, and then the following seasons. Like, was the spot yours, or did you have to go beat out some dudes in order to get that spot back?
yeah, I had to beat out. We played 2 games in 2022 and we split reps. And then he ultimately ended up getting the spot. And then he got hurt at the end of our third game. And then I came in when we played Western, who was like number 10 at the time, and we hadn't beaten them on at in Dillon in like 10 years at the time,
Wow.
and they were number 10 in the country. So it was like, all right, this is gonna be my third and a half season in to college football. Um, and for me, it's just like, every day, you're in college football, whether you're the starter or you're the fifth string red shirt, you should be preparing like you're going to play in the game, because stuff like that can happen. And I was always ready for it. I was ready the year before when I did go in and got hurt, and I was ready that time. Um, but then ultimately, I mean, went into Western and whooped up on them pretty good. And, like threw 3 touchdowns in my first start. And it was kind of, ever since then, it was kind of like, all right, there's my spot. Um, and then, yeah, it was tough. They ended up getting us back at the end of the year to hurt or for us to not get in the playoffs, I guess. Um, but yeah, it was kind of just funny how it all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so like you said, like you're never a dude to like be intimidated and you know have any kind of self-doubt. So what was it like, playing at that level? Because and I tell kids this all the time, because I have some kids who are at the high school like, oh, I'm thinking D2, D3. I'm like, dude, you gotta look NAI. Like,
Yeah.
don't put your nose up to NAI in any way whatsoever, because there's still dogs out there, and no matter what sport you're playing, it's elite
Absolutely.
level of athletics. So what was it like playing against that kind of competition? You didn't get, reps at as much reps at Montana State, and then you got hurt. So now it's basically you're jumping from your senior year of high school playing at this college level, right? Like, what was that transition like for you? Like, was it
Yeah,
tough? Was it
and
like, nah, this is cake?
yeah, well, I did get a good amount of reps at Montana State.
Uh-huh.
I will say I got great reps there. They get everybody reps no matter what,
Okay.
which is great.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I think, and I kind of said it before, but that freshman year of college, when I was kind of deep diving into, what are defenses doing, um, and I was, just kind of doing stuff like that. That really helped me for when I got to Tech. Um, kind of just
Mm.
diving in more to the X's and O's
Yep.
when I can't resort back on my running, because I was still in my big old knee brace, kind of just lost my speed really, and so that's kind of how I fell back on it was just the X's and O's preparation is all right. What's this safety doing when he's down when he's staying too high? And it was kind of just that X's and O's stuff that I felt like I had the advantage over people. And maybe I didn't. That's kind of just where I felt I had the advantage. Um, and then going back to your question, I was never like, oh, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I should have started from day one. That's kind of always, my mindset. So then I finally get the chance to show what I can do. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
Yep.
It wasn't really nerve, anything like that. It was just more like, let's go play some
Let's
ball.
go play some ball, dude.
This is what what I've been doing for my whole life. Like, why change anything now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just, and I do remember going into that game against Western. Everybody's coming up to me at practice, like, all right, man, let's get it. Like, it was almost like everybody wanted to see what I could do because they kind of got
Yep.
a glimpse last year, kind of got glimpses of me playing like two during the first two games. And then everybody's coming up like, hey, man, we got Western. Like, let's see what you're all about. Like, like, yeah. So everybody put confidence in me that week. It was, yeah, just great support from the whole team. And then, yeah, we went in and gave them a good beating.
Did the damn
played
thing, man.
pretty well for the rest of the year, actually. So, yeah, good. It was, everybody was just, instilling confidence in you. And that's kind of where you see that culture shift
Yeah.
of what Samson came in. Is like, we're a family. And that he preaches it all. And, that's kind of when I felt it. Was kind of that week. Everybody's kind of picking you up, and that was awesome. And, going into the game, it's just another game of football, and that was awesome.
Yep. What's the saying? It's preparation eliminates doubt or whatever it is. And kind
Yeah,
of what you're
yeah,
talking to is like being a student of the game, right? Like
yeah,
that time at Montana State, you're getting the reps, but you're also breaking down the X's and O's. And whatever sport you are, like you're playing, man, like if you don't have a good IQ, you're not going to play. And it's always the dudes with the best IQ that
yeah.
eventually play. You know what I mean? Like athleticism can get you so far, but like understanding what you're seeing, like I played B team quarterback in high school, so I had no idea. I was dropping back and throwing it, but like to be able to like sit back, understand what coverage you're getting, what the edges are looking like, what the linebackers, safeties, corners, whatever it may be, and getting your guys prepared for that, man. Um, it it just probably brings you that confidence that you had not only, but it also probably showed everybody around you, like on your team, like, okay, we got our guy here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then when everyone's buying into you, just that confidence just
Oh
amplifies
yeah.
and
Yeah, no doubt.
multiplies.
Yeah, just yeah, when people like truly believe in you, it's like you go from here to here. It's a different type of thing. And especially when, you're coming in as, a backup or whatever, there's no better feeling than, having the captain come up to you and be like, hey man, like, let's go get it, like we all believe in you. It's just kind of one of those things. Just little things like that kind of go a long way.
Oh yeah. And I remember there was a play. Was it this last fall or maybe the fall before? You're scrambling out, you get hit for that game-winning touchdown. Who were y'all playing? That's
We
probably a
were playing
memory
Florida.
you'll never forget that. Like that,
That
watching that on
was
Twitter, I was like, that boy
that
Blake.
that was something else, man. That was the whole game was nuts because like that was honestly like truly. So they were number
Yep.
when they came in, and we were. This is we were what, like 19 maybe 20. Nobody's given us a chance, and we kind of go out and kind of take it to them. I remember it was like 7-7 to start, and then our defense went nuts. Like this one kid, Jaden Downs, had 3 picks, and he had a pick six, and like we were up 14-7, and then oh god, it was like I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was 21-4. Or what was it? It was like 21-20 or something, and we had the ball. We were just running, pretty much running the clock down, and we were down to the 20-yard line. And give it to our running back. He's just killing everybody all game. He had like 200, and he fumbles, and they take it back for 6
That's right.
with like a minute, and it was actually under the 2-minute warning. So I think minute 10, maybe just a minute, and we're all like, dude, we're not losing like this. Like that is not happening. So I think we were actually, it was 21-14 is what it was. And then we fumbled. They take it back. They get the 2-point conversion. So then we're down 1. And we're like, all right, let's just go get into field goal range. Like, just try to get a kick at it. And then we actually get stopped. And I threw like an RPO, 3rd down. And kid comes off the edge, tips it. I catch it. And then I turn around, and their linebacker, like all-American linebacker, comes in with the tip of his helmet and puts it right in my chin. Like, just spears me. So we get a targeting. We actually had to challenge it. They didn't call it. But I'm going over to coach like, we got to challenge that. Like, I swear to God, I saw before I hit the ground.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting the challenge, and then, I hit Kyle on two kind of over the middle throws, and then there was like 15 seconds left, I think, when we snapped that ball. And I easily could have ran. I remember listening to it on the broadcast after, like, the next day, and he's like, Thielen steps up, oh, he's gonna run. And then I like pulled back and started shuffling and threw it. He's like, oh, no, he's not. And I think everybody in the crowd was screaming at me, run! And I could hear it. It's just, I mean, Wyatt Alexander, he's the kid who caught it. When you get him in one-on-one coverage, there's not really anything anybody can do about it. Like, he's probably going to come down with it. He's like 6'2", has like a 38-inch vertical or something like that. Runs like a 4.4 40. Like, pretty impressive athlete. It's like, I see the corner had his back to him, and Wyatt's just looking at me like this, and corner has his back. So I'm like, if I throw this is probably going to be PI or it's a touchdown. Ended up winning it. It was unlike anything. And the crowd that we get on the is pretty close to like what you could get at some Division 1 FCS school.
Yeah.
So like the crowd that we had there was nuts. I mean, I remember the crowd pop of when he caught it. I was just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, it was. And then we ended up doing a little bootleg, like throw a little corner of the end zone, little pass, and we got the 2-point conversion too. And then it was just like
It's
just the
over.
icing on the cake. It
It's
was just
over.
yeah. And then the awesome thing about going to like a NAIA school like that is like I know exactly where to sit.
Yep.
Like their season tickets or whatever. Like I'm coming off the field pointing at them. And you see your mom and your dad freaking just juice like that. There's not really a better feeling than that.
No, dude.
So that was kind of another cool thing is just kind of going to a smaller school like that. You know exactly what parents say. You can find them when you come off the field. And they kind of just seeing them proud of you like that.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's a good feeling, and I mean, it was. I've always kind of tried to see my parents during games,
Yeah.
and I did it all the time in high school. Like you make a three, and you kind of look up to where they are, kind of see them pumping their fists or whatever, giving them a clap. It's kind of a feeling that you can't really replicate.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, to that game, like, was that probably your favorite college football game of all time, or favorite game you've ever been a part of?
It's weird. I don't know if I can say it's my favorite because I played so bad during the game. Like, honest to God, the first 3.5 quarters, I played one of the worst games I've played in college. And then for it to end like that is pretty awesome. And obviously, I don't care too much about it in retrospect,
right?
Because we won. But like, I did not play good that game. So for it to end like that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I truly have like a favorite game. I mean, both times we beat Carroll at the end of the year.
Yep.
Was pretty awesome because both times it was to kick them out of the playoffs. And in 2023, it was basically a win or go home between both of us. It was pretty much a playoff.
Oh yeah.
And then last year we were going to get in no matter what, but they had to win it. They had to win to get in, and we kind of just stomped them.
Gave them the boots.
And so yeah, so it's always fun beating them. That's a pretty good rivalry.
Oh yeah. It's always fun just to beat Carroll in general, dude.
Yeah,
no
in
my opinion,
yeah.
I always love beating Carroll. The one thing that hurts the most is I'm pretty sure we beat Carroll every year. We'd always like split with them. But like I never beat Carroll at Carroll. I mean, like not me, my teams never beat Carroll at Carroll. Always a tough environment. And like I grew up in Helena until about second grade. I'd go to Carroll football games when they were on that natty run. And they show out there too. Like not only do you have the stands, but you have people like on the fence on the outside and everything.
That was another fun thing is that end of the 2023, that was their last game on grass that they played like on their grass field.
Yeah.
And then we came in and played them their first game in their new stadium with the turf. And then they did a couple other things. And then we beat them there too. So it's like, got them on the last game of the grass. We got them of their new stadium and beat them. So that was kind of another.
Heck yeah.
Kind of just another one up on them.
Oh yeah, man.
But
and yeah, like to go back to your parents, dude. I bet you it was just like awesome because I mean, just growing up again around you in Tanner, like your parents were always there, man. Like they never missed a game. Basketball, football, baseball, like no matter what it was, they always traveled. Shoot, like I think before you were even in high school, they would come and travel just to like watch us, right? I mean, I think that's pretty cool, dude, to like know where they're at all the time and like have those moments. Because I know Terry was pumped. I know Karen was going crazy. I know Tanner was out there going crazy somewhere. You know what I mean? It's probably really cool to have like that support system and knowing that they were always going to be there to support you, no matter when or where you were playing.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome feeling. And the other thing is just kind of, you never really realize like how much they truly put into you when you were younger, like going to basketball tournaments, like playing little guy football.
Yep.
I mean, for one, it's not cheap, and two, it's a lot of time that they take, just basically just for you to play sports. Um, so kind of, you know, when you get older, like get into college and, you know, it's almost like, oh, all that was worth it.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, especially for them, it's just kind of, they put in all that work for me just to get to where I was. Um, Obviously couldn't have done it without them. Um, yeah, just grateful for the fam.
Absolutely, man. You've definitely made them proud. For sure. Like it was, I think you've made Great Falls and Great Falls High proud, dude. Because again, like small town like that, um, like we always keep track. Especially
Yeah,
those like who you grew up with. But like, I said this to you on the FaceTime. Like you're gonna be a legend not only at Montana Tech, but you'll always be remembered at Great Falls High and in Great Falls and in those areas because you put on for the city. Like I know that's kind of cliche to say, but I believe that's really true. Like Montana fans, thank you for the like, Karen. Karen liked the stream.
yeah.
Um,
Aaron,
but yeah, I think you know Great Falls. I can't speak for other towns because obviously we didn't grow up there, but like Great Falls community cares, dude, and they
yeah,
love it when they see other Great Falls, athletes or just people in general thrive. And so, um, not only your parents, but you've made Great Falls and Great Falls High very proud, man. Um, Before we get you out of here, do you have any advice for any student athletes out there? Because it is a lot to juggle. And it is a lot to focus on. Not only in order to be on the field, you have to have grades. Your grades have to be up to par. You got to be disciplined on and off the field. Like, do you have any advice for student athletes going through the grind right now?
yeah. I mean, the thing that you just alluded to is grades. Um, you can't play, and I've seen it so much in college. If you can't pass classes, you're not gonna play.
Yep.
And I feel like it should be. I mean, especially when you get to college, like they harp on it quite a bit, and some people still just don't listen. And it's like, so what I would say is show up, do the best you can in the classroom because that's also going to translate to whatever sport you're playing. And we talked about it earlier in the podcast was people like the higher IQ you have, more likely the better chance you are getting on the field no matter
Yep.
what sport you play.
Yep.
Especially football. Football is a very mental game. Um, so yeah, the classroom would definitely be the first thing. Like if you don't pass your class, you're not going to get on the field. Um, Second thing is definitely focus on like your nutrition and what you're putting in your body slash working out. That's something I didn't do the best job of was diet, and I got better towards the end of my career. Was definitely focusing on your diet, and I mean, I don't like vegetables, and I still don't really that much. But there's stuff that you can do to
Yep.
where you, um, so yeah, I would say like definitely lean into the diet part of it, and working out, lifting weight. I mean, even if you're a basketball, like they, I always used to be the guys like, I don't want to work out or something like that, but it's like Kobe. Kobe was working out. He was lifting weights every single day, like every day, no matter if it was game day or not. Definitely the gym it's, I mean, pivotal part of playing any sport. And
Yep.
I'm specifically talking to people like in high school
Yep.
that want to play in college. That's where you're going to make your separation, your gains over other people is in the weight room and what you're putting in your body for sure. And then
Absolutely.
the last thing would just be attitude. Like, you know, you're not always going to get along with coaches or you're not always going to agree. And there's a time and place for you to have a conversation. Um, Whether it's, you don't think that this is going to work in a game or you want to do this, and there's give and take with coaches, but for the most, you really got to trust them because they're coaching you for a reason. Um, yeah,
Yeah, dude. I think that's huge. Shout out Terry. Terry just liked the stream.
there we
Let's
go.
go. Y'all have to have that conversation now. Y'all have to have the
Yeah,
conversation. No, I agree with you, man. I think,
yeah,
first off, grades. Like, if you're not getting good grades, you're not going to play. And
no,
that's something that I think, is some guys they just didn't get it from my experience. Like, dude just didn't get it. Skipping class. Like, we had a rule: be front row in class. If you're on time, you're late. Be there 5 minutes early.
yep,
Those kinds of
yep,
things. And like, if you're not able to like have the self discipline or even like the humility of it, like, oh, I'm too cool or whatever it is, like, you're not gonna make it, man. And to the weight room in not the hygiene, but like your diet. Hygiene too. Put the deodorant on, please. After a workout, put the body spray on.
please
Um,
take a shower.
yeah, please take a shower after football practice. No, but like diet and weight room definitely huge. Like my first couple of years in college, I wasn't the best at it, but um, my last couple of years, I feel like I was a little bit more mindful, especially with the weight room. Diet wise, I've always been a snacker, and so
Yeah, yeah,
but at the end of the day, it's just so important, and just like I don't have like data or like anything like that off the top of my head, but when your body has the things it needs, you're going to be healthier and you're probably less prone to be injured. And and just having that attitude part about it too, man. Like, if you have the humility or, you know, the guts to go talk to your coach about things that you disagree on, but like talk to him like a man, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
not argue with them
yeah.
in practice and like being able to handle situations like an adult, like it goes a long way. I remember
Yeah, and they respect it. They respect you more for it,
yep,
for handling it like an adult.
yep, yep. I remember Keller, I was never a guy like, I was always a yes coach type of dude. Howard kind of taught me that because that wasn't a guy to argue with. Um, but I was always a yes coach. But I remember my senior year, Keller and I were kind of butting heads for a little bit. I wasn't getting the run that I thought I should, and I was kind of just being pissy with him. And then I was like, you know what, like, man, that's not me, and that's not how I want my coach to view me. And I went in and I had a conversation with them face to face, and I think it was, a productive conversation for both of us. And I think we both got what we wanted out of it. I think he trusted me more after that conversation, and I trusted him more. And I think it was one of those things too. It's like that's something a leader does. And to be
Yeah,
like, there doesn't just have to be one leader on a team. Like you can have multiple. The more the better. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I
man.
agree.
I agree 100%. One last thing. I know I just said this. You ever thinking about coaching? Getting into coaching?
Yeah, I have. I've thought about it. We'll see. I definitely would think about it. Yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, especially just like right now, talking, about ball and just whatever.
Yep.
It's the fun thing about coaching, and I always talk to our offensive line coach at Tech about it, is like he's basically saying like, I basically living my dream. Just forming relationships all day, coaching kids about the game that I love. Um, yeah, it's definitely something I've thought about getting in. Um, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I love talking about it. Feel like I'm knowledgeable about it. Um,
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah, it's something that I wouldn't put past myself, but as of right now, no.
Yeah.
But at some point, yeah,
Enjoy it, man. I mean, you just came off of a
yeah,
long run. Like that's what I did. I didn't, I went and got my master's and I took a couple years off, but then, I got into it. And I think you'd be a great coach. And I think there needs to be more coaches like you out there who kind of understand the game. I think there's a lot of dudes out there and that don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're coaches. Whether if you're like an assistant or whatever it is, like I only coach freshmen, in the high school level, but then I coach club ball. It kind of varies from middle school to high school. Um, but just like the more people out there that know what they're doing, and like and it fills my cup. Like, we're competitors,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah.
it fills
Oh
the
yeah.
cup, and I
Yeah.
think, whatever level, like, and the cool thing is, playing at the college level, like, you have connections. Like, my coaches in college wrote me my letter of recommendations to get the coaching jobs that I
Yep.
have gotten. And
Yep.
I'm like, I haven't really pursued the college level or anything like that, but like, if you ever, like, this goes for anyone, but like, if you ever wanted to get into that, atmosphere, like, connections go a long way, and like, you have
Yeah.
them,
No doubt.
and but who knows? One of your boys might be a coach one day and would need
Yeah.
an assistant. But I thought I'd ask because I think you'd be a
Yeah.
great coach, dude.
Yeah. The other thing about that is like I've seen both sides of it to where coaches, like a good coach, can really shape you into like a
Yep.
good human being,
Yep.
and vice versa, and also like can also ruin a game for someone.
Yep.
Like someone
100%.
loves a sport and you have a bad coach, and bam, that love can be gone. And like other
100%.
thing about a good coach is confidence. Like I'll never remember Ken Maddox my freshman year when I was playing varsity basketball. He I come off the bench. I probably passed up like 3 wide open shots. Freshman playing first. I think it was my first or second game, and actually, I'll tell you. So my first ever shot on a varsity basketball. Uh, I get a Daniel Silverstein's coming down the paint. I'll never forget this. Coming down the paint, gives like a no looker to me in the corner. Oh yeah. Just launch it over the hoop, air ball, not even close. I'm like, so that kind of, and then like the rest of the game, I didn't shoot, and then the next game, I kind of passed up quite a bit.
Yep.
And I remember it was Maddox, and I came off to the bench. And he kind of grabbed me. And goes, why do you think you're playing? Like, why do you think you're a freshman playing on varsity basketball? I'm like, what? Like, I don't know, honestly. Like, I think I'm good, but like, he's like, to score the damn ball, you gotta shoot to score. And I'll never forget it. And that, honestly, for the rest of my freshman, and I mean, I wasn't, a huge contributor, but I definitely play. I mean, I played every game.
Yep.
Scored, was definitely a part of the offense. And it was because, he kind of pulled me aside and go, like, you're here to score the damn ball.
Yep.
And that's kind of just goes to that point that I'm talking about. Coaches can instill confidence and they can take away. And obviously you want to be on the right side. And that was just kind of a Maddox story. I have a couple other ones, but that was one that was just like, just a good example of a coach instilling confidence, especially at that time. It was like my second varsity game. Kind of just hearing that, especially from a coach, like, you're here to score. I mean, it went a ways for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's like the space I like to operate from too. Like, I
Yeah.
hold kids accountable, but I definitely let them know, like, I always like, if I kind of have this rule with myself, if I say something negative, I gotta end it with something positive with them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And he's probably getting on you, but it's also instilling confidence in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
one
no
day
doubt.
maybe
Yeah,
I'll
it was
have
a
a
little bit
segment.
like,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, it was definitely, you have to shoot.
Yep.
Like, it's not like, oh, buddy, like you're shoot the damn ball.
Yep.
It was, yeah, definitely coming from a place of love, but definitely a little bit of like a little bit of anger, like,
Right.
put passing up open shots
On a team that had a lot of expectation. That team had a lot of
for
expectation,
sure.
dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate you for coming on, man. Shoot. I was like, yeah, Blake, we'll probably be on here about 30 minutes, 45. We're an hour and a half in, 90 minutes in. So, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate everyone who tuned in, showing love. When this is on YouTube, if you're this far, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video. Show some love. Same on Facebook when this drops. We appreciate everybody. Skywalking with Wetz podcast. Blake Thelen. Appreciate you, dude. Peace, everybody.